Hey everyone. Today's video might spark some interesting discussions with you and your colleagues. It's a topic that I'll admit was really rewarding for me to consider because I never questioned this in the past. I was like, oh yeah, people do that sometimes. And now, no, I'm turned all around on the issue. It has to do with the lies that we tell other people. It has to do with the cover stories that we employ, the excuses for why are you in this building if you're doing a pen test, right? One thing worth mentioning, in case you don't know this, we always hammer this in our classes. You never claim to be a cop, right? There are certain things it is illegal to say that you are if you're not. You're not a mail carrier, right? You're not a postal worker. You're not a cop. That is a crime. And also, in addition to it being illegal, it's not something that like actual criminals do, right? With the exception of some very brazen street criminals, like this footage from a TV show that was shot in Amsterdam.
Police, get out of the way.
What?
Against the wall.
What are you doing? I'm not doing anything. What are you doing, mate? Mate, what are you doing to me?
Against the wall.
I'm getting frisked for drugs.
What have I done? What have I haven't done anything wrong.
There's something not quite right about this.
Stay there. Stay there. Stand against the wall. I will tell you after. Stay against the wall.
Tell me what I've done.
Against the wall.
Tell me what I've done. Now where are you going? He's taking my wallet.
Now, I'll be honest, that's a show, somebody mentioned it to me in a Red Team Alliance class, and I checked it out, and it's cute. I don't really like the show. I think it makes cities look more dangerous than they are, and I can't tell how much of this crap is staged. Honestly, it seems so contrived. And that's the point about like claiming you're a cop as if you're going to do crimes that way. It's really over the top. It's not realistic. Like, yes, there are some nation state high level like threats out there who actually are cops or authority figures, like working for the government, either collaboratively or corruptly. But like, that's not what pen testers do. Your average person breaking in isn't going to say, oh, I'm a police officer, do what I tell you to do. Now, you can claim to be backed by some level of authority. That's really good for concocting a cover story, right? Having a reason to be there that isn't like, oh, I just wandered in here. This isn't shop class. So of course we've said, oh, I'm from the local utility company. I'm from this telco. I have a service order I've got to work on. You might be kind of regulatory or like a building inspector. I've talked about that in KakalakiCon talk, right? Like I'm here to check your fire doors, want to make sure your sprinkler system, blah, 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 blah. But this starts to get into this space of like compliance auditing. So gathering evidence for a legal matter, that's a story I've told that a colleague of mine did, and it's a great story, starts to push the envelope a little bit there. And the real one that raises an eyebrow for me, even long ago when I first heard this, was auditing. Oh, I'm an auditor, right? I knew a pen tester, very respected person. She's still in the field, great person. But sometimes she said, well, yeah, pen testing and breaking in is easy. I wear a certain suit and I have my, little leather bound paper, blah, blah, blah. And I just walk right up, present myself and say, hi, corporate sent me. I'm your auditor. I'm here for your whatever compliance. And I'm just going to be walking around. And, she would poke around and look through everybody's stuff. Yeah, I just don't think there's value in that to the client. I've never personally done that. I have had a story many times, a cover story like, oh, corporate sent us from the Wyoming facility, or yes, we're outside consultants on a special project, or the old standby, right? Like Johnson Controls sent me. If I engage with building maintenance staff, anybody from facilities, oh yeah, Johnson Controls sent me, I'm doing blah, blah, blah. The question of the day is this. If you do get challenged, right? Someone comes up to you and says, why are you in here? Do you belong here? And you try your cover story. Oh, I was sent here from Siemens and I'm servicing this and I'll be out of your hair and Bill knows I'm here. And, it's just not working. It's not working out. The lie is not flying. You're thinking about cutting and running because you think they're going to call the cops or go call security. Do you produce your real authorization letter? The one that says this person is here for a test, here's the person you call. Or do you produce a fake get out of jail letter? We used to talk about this. I have talked about this in class. I've told stories about it. We had a client that asked us to do this once. And we concocted this ruse where we had a fake red team fusion center. And that's what we called it in the letter. So again, if you've ever heard me tell this, we talked about it in various presentations where you should have Anytime you're ever doing any kind of pen testing work, you have your full, proper authorization document. It's not a big sheaf of papers. It's one page. It says, this is a security test. The person presenting you with this letter is authorized to be here. The following people know about the test, and it names some executives who are read into the project. And then the real letter should always say, please contact any of these people, use your internal company directory, and then please do not compromise the test for everyone else. Don't spoil the test. Just contact these people. They'll tell you what's up. That's a real letter. Very brief. Now, we've talked about fake letters where you'll have like a document that says, this person is from the Red Team Center and believe everything they tell you, don't tell anyone else. We used to joke, like, if you stop this person, on the back of the letter, fill in your name and badge number and you'll be entered to do a raffle. We thought it was a cute thing to do. And the client did too. Again, a client had us do this, and we set up a phone line on Google Voice, and the other fellow on the other end of the line had a hilarious time because he fielded a call. Again, I got challenged by some executives, and they did some things that were not fully legal. We can talk about that another time. But I eventually presented this fake letter. They called Laz, and Laz, he did a whole, okay, now where did you encounter the incident? Okay, what did the person say? How did you do this? Okay, what were they doing? And your name is this? Okay, and your role? Okay, and if I need to follow up, what's your number? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you for participating in security. And we thought, like, that was, and they let me go. They did. Now, we later learned these guys did not think that was real, but they also knew, they're like, all right, this doesn't seem like a crackhead stealing copper. They were just puzzled. And some of them were in the briefing later, and they're like, yeah, that was kind of strange. We ultimately wrote it up internally, and then security watched you for a while, and then you left campus. So we've done it. I don't know how good this is as a practice. Do you understand how I'm framing this now? This is not saying to a person who came up to you, hey, I'm here from the San Francisco office. This is not walking into a building and saying, hey, I have a work order from this outside contractor. Can you let me in? This is literally presenting yourself as, yes, I am here doing a red team engagement. Therefore, you should let me go because it's a red team engagement. There are people who advocate for that. There are people who talk about that fake letter, that you give people the fake letter. What turned me completely around on this topic was a really good conversation with two colleagues of mine. You might know them, Shawn Abelson, Ana Aslanishvili. They work with us on a number of projects. They've been on jobs with us. We've broken into buildings with them, and they also teach classes with us, right? So they have a new class that Red Team Alliance is offering now. I'm so thrilled about this. They call it the red tape of red teaming. And it gets into all the aspects of doing this kind of work that don't really get covered in con talks and anything outside of, like just talk with each other over drinks in a bar. You might get tips like this from, hey, how do you negotiate that? How do you navigate this problem? That's what their whole class is about. And in this class, they really said, look, the fake red team letter, it's kind of dumb, right? It's in the, hi, I belong here because I say I belong here. So it's kind of lame, but also it's kind of not value to the client because it doesn't model a relevant threat. And I asked Shawn, I was like, well, what's a relevant threat? And Shawn was like, I can back it up in some ways. So like, when's the last time you've ever heard this actually happening? Not on a job by a silly person, but like a criminal. Is there ever anywhere a record of any report of a criminal breaking into a building saying, you've heard of red team testing? Well, that's what this is. I'm doing a red team test. There's no record of that in terms of like corporate America. There's this one weird story. God, I wonder if I can find the podcast link, I might drop it down. It might have been This American Life. There was a weird bank robbery thing where, like, do you guys know about this story? There was a guy who said he was hired to break into banks, to like pretend to rob banks as like a security test for the government. And it seemed like he was just like a simple-minded guy who got like scammed by other criminal. It was very weird. It's a weird story. And how he like would get challenged. And one time he got arrested, and then the criminals who put him up to it actually called the police and said, yes, we're from the military DOD. And like, it's a weird frickin' story. Outside of that one crazy person, which I think he was kind of like not all there, no one has ever heard of this happening. No one has ever heard of like corporate crime or anything where someone's breaking in to steal secrets and like saying, I'm here for a red team test. You've heard of those, right? So that's what Shawn said. He's like, it doesn't model a relevant threat. What's the value to the client at the end of the day? Because that's what our goal is, right? Our goal isn't to just break in and feel awesome. Our goal is to provide value to the people who hired us. These are the kind of things that mastering the red tape of red teaming, this new class, is all about. It's about how to approach projects, how to be smart about scoping and agreements and paperwork, all the kind of little pitfalls that can ruin a job. Discussion about like hidden costs that you wouldn't forget and how to negotiate billing and rates. In short, it's about, he describes it as how to parlay your technical skills into business engagements. And I love it. It was something that they've run a few times. You're going to see it more often. I mean, I don't mention the website where I sell tools and stuff, but like I mentioned Red Team Alliance, it's our training company. This idea that this whole video is inspired by me sitting through that class. And I've been in this industry for a while. I got tons of value out of it and I loved it. And again, I'm not here selling you on something. It's not like somebody's sitting there on a Saturday and being like, I should get into red team. I'm going to spend a few grand on a full new training program. But no, if you're in the industry, if you're interested in this, yeah, think about that. Think about if this is a question, this has been a need for a while. It's questions that come up in all of our other classes, our covert methods of entry class, our access control packs, RFID hacking classes. People at the end of the class, like, this was so great. I learned so much. Man, I'm trying to get my business to get more work in this field that you just taught me these skills. I'm nervous about how do you like scope jobs? How do you write a statement of work? And then we never had a class for it. Now we do, thanks to Shawn and Ana. So I love it. I love them. Thank you to both of them for putting it together. Thank you for being badasses and working with us. And thank you for listening. Let me know, let me know your thoughts. Have you heard me literally tell the story of a fake letter and joke about it? You're not going to hear me tell that story anymore. Let me know if you've ever carried a fake letter. Let me know your thoughts about any of this or anything else. Yeah, wherever you are, wherever you're going, wherever you're breaking in, whatever lies you're telling the client, I hope it is always at the end of the day providing value to you and the people who hired you. And I hope that you stay safe out there.